Welcome back to another episode of Salmon Run in a nutshell. We're going to be going over some quick tips to help your workday go a little bit smoother, so let's get to work. In my opinion, the Splat dualies are definitely the GOAT of this rotation. They do really high damage, really good at painting. The only downside is going to be the range. When you do a dodge roll, you will be able to hit high enough to splat a steelhead. Every other boss is going to go down in like 1 second. You're definitely going to want to dodge roll, but the damage is extremely high. The ink efficiency is really good too, so you will not really run out of ink too much unless you're doing a lot of dodge rolling, which you can only do 2 of them before there's a cooldown, but as long as you're careful, you really shouldn't have too much trouble with that. Primarily focus on the bosses, but definitely take out any of the lesser salmon as they're in your way because the damage is just so high. You'll be doing your team a great service. Oh, and one last thing. If you do get Kohozuna, focus on Kohozuna the whole time. Just shoot at him and only shoot at the other lesser salmonids and bosses whenever they're close by to defend yourself. Listen up, Johnny! You better be shooting first and asking questions later, because this weapon is not accurate. The Splattershot Nova is really good at paint, and that's probably the main thing it's good at. The range for painting is good. It's going to be similar actually to the Nautilus, but with kind of a wider spread. However, the accuracy when you're actually trying to hit something is really low. So that's going to be a little bit of a problem when you're using this weapon. But ink efficiency is really good though, so that's kind of the benefit of it. If you get the Glowfly Rush Wave on this rotation, I would say the Splattershot Nova is probably your best bet at holding them off. So I would probably focus on lesser salmonids in general with this weapon. Don't count on the range being good because of the low accuracy, and yeah, you're going to be mostly playing support with this weapon. Okay, so the Nautilus is a pretty well balanced splatling. It can charge even while it's firing, so if you feel like you're running out of charge, you can just charge up again. With a full charge, you will be doing over 500 damage per second with this weapon. Now, the average damage per second is not nearly as high, but it's actually really useful for trying to splat like a boss. If there's a boss that you're ready to be shooting at, and you already have your charge ready, then you can do like something like 900 damage on a single charge. So definitely take advantage of that whenever you can, because things like drizzlers or big shots, things that have a lot of HP and you usually have time to get ready to start shooting them, you can definitely do tons of damage with this weapon. You can hit fish sticks from the ground if you just aim up like almost like directly up in the air. So do that whenever you can. The Rapid Blaster is going to be a little bit better at fighting fish sticks, but you know, whatever is close to you, you gotta do your part. You can store your charge. I don't know how useful that really is, but it can be handy in a pinch. So just kind of keep the area cleared around you, and try to keep your distance from enemies when you're shooting at them. The Rapid Blaster is definitely on the lower end of the damage in terms of blasters, but it does have long range and a pretty quick fire rate. So like with all blasters, you're going to mainly want to be focusing on the lesser salmonids, but this is a pretty easy one to use against steelheads. Flyfish, if you aim up as they're landing, you should be able to destroy the tower before it even lands. You'll probably be able to splat all of the small fries that are carrying it in. Definitely a really handy trick to do, because then you don't have to go up the tower to get the eggs. Keep your distance with this weapon. The paint is not great, so always make sure that you have some space to move when you're using this one. But the range is good, so definitely a big plus on this one. On Sockeye Station, the tower in the center is going to be a really good vantage point for 3 of the weapons: the Nautilus, the Splattershot Nova, and the Rapid Blaster. This is especially true on high tide because that's gonna basically overlook. You could probably hit around 60% of the map with those weapons. On normal tide, the tower is going to be obscuring your view, so just try to keep the walls painted on the tower so that you can be able to swim up over it, and then you can see what's going on the other side of the tower without having to go all the way around. You can also use this to escape from enemies whenever you're like getting surrounded, especially when you're trying to collect eggs. On low tide, what the hell do you do on low tide? On low tide, there's 4 paths to the water where the enemies will be spawning. The 2 paths in the middle are the only ones that the enemies can cross. The 2 on the far left and the far right are the ones that you can go across because they have ledges that the enemies can't come up on. Use those to get to flyfish and stingers because the other paths will be full of enemies usually. Just make sure that there's not an enemy like a scrapper or a steel wheel following you, because then you will pretty much just get surrounded because there will be enemies on the shore and there will be one following you, so then you'll get pinched. And that's all I have to say for today. I hope your egg baskets runneth over. Revive your teammates as soon as possible. Good luck and good fishing.